Minnesota Vikings had a tall task last offseason after parting ways with head coach Mike Zimmer, finding a replacement, right? So also they replaced Spielman with adofo-mensah, but finding a new leader of men for the Minnesota Vikings. And we talked about the last couple years where the Vikings lost these close games. There's a lot of talent on the rooster. We just need someone to come in and put it all together. And they hired Kevin O'Connell, offensive coordinator of the Los Angeles Rams, just won the Super Bowl. No, didn't call the plays, but was deeply involved in game planning with Sean McVay, all that stuff. Won a Super Bowl with Matthew frickin' Stafford. What wasn't to like? Also, he looks like a young Bud Grant. So certainly had that going on for him. But they hired him over Nathaniel Hackett and Harbaugh, even though Harbaugh probably going to end up in the NFL. And the whole season was pitched under the guise of competitive rebuild. And him and new GM adofo-mensah were going to do some things to this roster and, temper expectations. I mean, the Vikings were 8-9 last season. They lost a fistful of close games. Maybe the Vikings, if everything goes right, could go 8-9, maybe even 10-7, make the playoffs as a wild card. But, by God, it's Kevin O'Connell's music. Now, I don't want to hear about point differential. I don't want to hear about, they can't beat a good team, da-da-da. I want to know, who expected 13 wins? Besides Colin Cowherd, by the way, and also myself, because I predicted like 12 or 13 wins somewhere there. Actually, I might have predicted 14, so maybe I came up short. Kevin O'Connell, fire him. Anyways, but 13-4 for a first-year head coach for the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, it's phenomenal. It is phenomenal. And yes, there's some emotional letdowns in there, and the Vikings failed to show up in a couple of big games, and that's something that Kevin O'Connell will internalize and learn from, and that's what I absolutely love about Kevin O'Connell. And in terms of where he stacks up historically, and we are talking historical, because if you look back, Kevin O'Connell's 13 wins is tied for third most in NFL history for a first-year head coach. You had George Seifert in 89, taking over for the legend Bill Walsh, went 14-2. Caldwell in 09, taking over for Tony Dungy, 14-2. Jim Harbaugh taking over for, was it Mike Singletary? Legend. Went 13-3 with the Niners in 2011. Mariucci took over for, by the way, the Niners love first-year head coaches, I guess. But Mariucci nailed it, taking over for George Seifert in 97, also went 13-3. Now, it should be noted that Caldwell, Seifert, and Mariucci inherited fantastic teams, and for O'Connell, I mean, he inherited an 8-9 team. Harbaugh inherited a 6-10 team. So it is what it is there. But, I mean, Kevin O'Connell, like in a normal season, should be shoe-in for Coach of the Year, but it's not really a normal season. I mean, Brian Daboll, Sean McDermott, Nick Sirianni will all be in there. So it is what it is. But I do think that Kevin O'Connell greatly exceeded expectations. They went 11-0 in single-score games, and you could say all that is fluky and luck, but it really isn't. Where the Vikings, cultural-wise, they expect to come back and win. They don't give up. They do not quit because they're playing for each other. And you could say, what does culture really matter? Well, think about how you are productive at work when you actually enjoy being at work. If you enjoy being around your coworkers and your superiors and whatnot, it's a completely different vibe, and you can tell just like the way that the Vikings have interacted this year, the whole Kirko chains, how they deal with each other in the locker rooms, the way that they interact with each other on social media. They love being together, and it is all this man. It is all Kevin O'Connell, is all adofo-mensah, and he's completely changed the culture of this team. Eric Kendricks and Brian O'Neill last year talked about a fear-driven organization, and no one's given Brian O'Neill high fives in the hallways. But Kevin O'Connell, he's been notorious KOC this year, and they have built a culture of love where it's be curious, not judgmental, that whole thing. And I do think that the Vikings got their man. They absolutely got the right coach where, even the snarkiest and most negative Vikings fans, you're looking at the future. The Vikings' future is very bright with Kevin O'Connell and adofo-mensah. Yes, there's going to be quite a bit of overhaul this offseason with a lot of veteran contracts going bye-bye, but I trust them. I think that they've earned a degree of trust. So no matter what happens in the playoffs, the Vikings can win the Super Bowl. They could go one and done either way. The future is bright here in the great state of Minnesota, and Kevin O'Connell's doing it. He's brought out the best in Kirk Cousins, and if the defense can get its ish together in the subsequent years, I can't believe what this offense is going to be with Justin frickin' Jefferson and Darisaw and TJ Hawkinson. Let's go. So I do believe in Kevin O'Connell. He's done a phenomenal job, and I can't wait to see what he does next. Because I'll just put it on the table right now. Kevin O'Connell will bring a Super Bowl to the Minnesota Vikings at some point. Hopefully it doesn't in the next 10 years, but he's going to do it. I have faith in this man. But your thoughts are thoughts. Assessing Kevin O'Connell's first season as Vikings head coach. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But to next time, Skol, production value.